Acts 26 and verse 14 says, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue. All praise be to the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I'm going to continue on sharing some brief insight regarding my spiritual beliefs. I am a Hebrew Israelite from the seed of Abraham, from the tribe of Judah, and that's where I traced my lineage back to, from the tribe of Judah. And Christ's lineage can be traced back to the tribe of Judah. Revelations 5 and 5, he is the Lion of Judah. And also Revelations 22 and verse 16, he said, I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. Now, these videos are brief and they're designed to just share some insight and to motivate you spiritually, to help you reevaluate the scriptures if you happen to be on a spiritual journey. Now, we do have churches that's available in your local area to help you learn the scriptures, but you have to be very careful in choosing and picking a church to teach you about this Hebrew book, because it's not talking to our modern day churches. It only speaks to one nation of people, and I'm going to show you right now. If you have a Bible, you can follow me. Go to Matthew 15 verse 25. This is who he's talking to, see? But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Okay, right there. Very important that you understand Matthew 15 and verse 24 if you're going to learn the New Testament, the writings of the apostles. And then when Christ finished his assignment, he commissioned them to continue on preaching his message, his doctrine, right to here. These people right here. Matthew 15 and verse 24. I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Now go right back to Acts 26 and verse 14. Now this is when the Apostle Paul comes on the scene, and when he had an encounter with Christ, he said, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Now if you know the story of Paul, he didn't like the tribe of Judah. He said that his lineage, Paul's lineage, can be traced back to the tribe of the Benjamin. But they were brothers. But Paul was raised as a Pharisee, as a citizen of Rome, and he was trained to hate the Jews. Couldn't stand them, and he would murder them on the spot. So when he had an encounter with Christ, it only makes sense that Christ would come to Paul because he was killing his people. So when he heard the voice of Christ saying, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? Paul was like, who art thou? And he said, Lord, and he said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. So you really need to take your time when you get ready to read Paul's journey, because he would be the one who would be a light to the Gentiles, and that would be the Gentiles in this modern day society, those who don't understand the commandments, who think that the commandments were just for the Old Testament people, and they being taught that the Old Testament was done away with. But when you start reading the stories of Christ and the apostles' writing, the Old Testament was never done away with because Christ spoke from the Old Testament when he was in progress when it comes to the New Testament. So when you get ready to start reading the New Testament, you might want to really jump and start at the Old Testament first, so you can get a more biblical understanding of the New Testament, because it's impossible. You can't understand the New Testament unless you go back and read the Old Testament. Okay, so the point that I'm bringing out is that when the Apostle Paul comes on the scene, he didn't hear Christ speaking to him in the Greek language. He didn't hear him speaking to him in the Latin language, because those were the only languages that was on the scene during Christ's time. He said, and I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue. tongue. So that should tell you a lot of things about Christ and the language that he spoke. So if the Apostle Paul heard him speaking in the Hebrew language, can you imagine the language that's being spoken right now in heaven? Hebrew language. So I hope that you continue to follow me on my videos, and remember, these are just brief videos just to share some insight regarding my spiritual beliefs, and it's up to you to do the research. And when you if you happen to be on a spiritual journey, if you happen to find a good teacher as well as a good leader and a pastor to shepherd you, make sure that they have some wisdom to guide you through the scriptures, and make sure you ask questions and ask them the nationality of those people, which is very important, because the people that's currently residing over here in Jerusalem, those are not the people of the Bible. Although this religious system has been promoting them to be, but they're not. You need to ask questions if you're going to stay on this path, okay? Shalom, and I hope that you continue to follow me. And remember, read it for yourself.